911, what is your emergency?
The next step, and it's going to be their fault.
Separating migrant children from their parents.
You know, we stand here at an absolutely crucial point in time, where we must recognize that the power in the world is not in the hands of the politicians, but it is in the hands of the people. We stand here representing the youth that do not have a voice.
Student activism gives me hope for the future because we are the voices that will live in the future. Therefore, we deserve to be heard because we're here now.
The government is unresponsive to the needs of today's youth. A new wave of leaders is emerging ready to organize, protest, and stand up for our rights. Young people have been getting involved in the political process for decades. In 1968, students protested in support of quality education for Mexican Americans. In 1969, students wore armbands in objection to the Vietnam War. And in 1970, 4 students were killed and several were injured while demonstrating at the Kent State University. The youth also played key roles in the civil rights movement. John Lewis, a congressman from Georgia, was one of the many black student leaders that caused good trouble alongside Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King Jr.
I got arrested. I went to jail a few times. I was beaten and left bloody and unconscious. Had a concussion at the bridge in Selma. I thought I saw death. I thought I was going to die, but I couldn't stop. My philosophy is very simple. When you see something that is not right, not fair, not just, you have an obligation to do something, to say something. You have a moral obligation to speak up and speak out and stay involved.
After 60 years of fighting for racial equality, there is still a long way to go. Today, much of the United States is still facing division from white supremacists aiming to make America great again to ensuring that black lives do matter. And it's not just a black and white issue. It's also about the mistreatment of undocumented immigrants. With thousands of children being separated from their families at the border under the zero-tolerance policy, students are crying out to government officials at local levels such as their city councils.
My mother and I came to the U.S. seeking asylum. My mother and I were separated at the border. I suffered a lot during those 3 days of separation from my mother. Your children will never understand that, and they are lucky for that.
Felipe is one of the many undocumented students speaking out for immigrant rights.
So I came to do testimony and to let the mayor know that we are here, we are united, and we're here to stay.
We are definitely not going away. Our generation, known as Gen Z, is made up of anyone born between 1996 and 2010. By 2020, we are projected to be about 1/3 of the United States population. But our future is at stake. Every day, 7 children are killed due to gun violence, and not much action has been taken by our leaders.
And to those politicians supported by the NRA that allow the continued slaughter of our children and our future, I say get your resumes ready.
Sometimes those leading the fight become victims of hateful internet lies.
Tonight on social media, right-wing conspiracy theories going viral about David Hogg, a 17-year-old Parkland shooting survivor. The unsubstantiated claims say he's a crisis actor, a trained actor who takes advantage of tragedies for political gain.
While adults sometimes express their hate on social media and ridicule the survivors, others are working on encouraging and mentoring these future leaders.
And we have to use the vote, especially here in America, but in other places also, if we want to create a democratic society. I happen to believe that the vote is the most powerful, non-violent instrument or tool that we have. It's precious. It's almost sacred. You know, I gave a little blood on that bird in Selma. I almost died for the right to vote.
The voting age in the United States was originally 21, but in 1971 it was lowered to 18. Then, Tacoma Park, Maryland became the first city in the United States to allow 16 and 17-year-olds to vote, followed by 2 other cities in Maryland. And on the other side of the country, Berkeley, California.
We did it in 2013, and we've had 3 elections that young people have voted in. And what we have found is that it has increased youth engagement in our community. And in fact, when you look at the percentage of young people who vote who are registered, comparing them to voters overall, young people actually turn out in higher numbers.
Although most teenagers in the United States cannot yet vote, many are organizing and planning on ways to get their concerns to the forefront of American politics.
There have been people on the front lines of the climate crisis who have been affected for decades, who have lost their homes, their lives, their health to this crisis due to the corruption of our leaders and the fossil fuel industry, and we're saying that enough is enough.
Jamie is 16 years old and the president of 0 Hour, a youth-led organization advocating for environmental justice. She organized and planned 3 days of action in the nation's capital to push for change.
This is where the kids are speaking for ourselves, and we usually don't have that opportunity much, so this is our opportunity.
So we're walking around, there's these big grandiose halls, there's the tunnels underneath, all the buildings are connected, there's lots of different offices. From my experience with the conversations with the senators, they are very grateful and receptive to what the young people are bringing to the table, and also to see young people here that are carrying a strong message and have a clear request is something that they are not so used to, so I think it's something really powerful and positive.
And young people today must never, ever give up, must never get lost in the sea of despair, never become bitter, and as Dr. King said, never hate, for hate is too heavy a burden to bear. The way of love is a much better way.
Don't let the pain of the world break you. Don't listen if they tell you that you can't, cause it ain't true. Nobody gonna change you. Stay strong, don't let nobody change you. You can't imagine the places I've been, places I go in this life that I live. You see in the world of your Instagram feed. While we live in the dream, strap a backpack to my back, I'm under attack. He said I can't even rap fast, I would never backtrack. Suffer for my last track. Soon the days will be nothing, will be nothing but a flashback. Quicker than the stage playing Quidditch. Around the rail from the cities to the village. Vilify the heroes and glorifying the villains. And redefine the limits of painting a new image. No heirs to the thrones on the years if you take it. It's breathtaking, this music that we make it. And this is my path. Never let my destiny be written by my circumstances. This life I'm living ain't got no limits. I see no limits. This life we living, and the world keeps spinning. This life I'm living ain't got no limits. I see no limits. And this life we living, and the world keeps spinning. And this life I'm living ain't got no limits.